there, it's Carol with Carolbcrafts. Are you ready to start our art gallery online class? So this is project number 1 in the art gallery online class, and if you have the create kit that goes along with it, then you'll be all set to get started. If you don't have the kit, then that's fine. I'll give the directions and the dimensions as we go along so that you can make a card like this with us. Be sure to check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com, to see what current create kit I'm offering. So every card in this kit is going to be a birthday card because we always need birthday cards. And these are gorgeous, gorgeous birthday cards. And we're making them with the art gallery stamps and matching dies, which is a lovely set. And today we're going to get started with this card, Happy Birthday. So let's get our kits. So I've pulled everything out of the kit to try to avoid some of the glare. Now in this packet I've separated your card bases and your DSP from your just other cardstock so that you don't get them confused. So today's card we're going to need a very vanilla card base. There's really only one in there. It's 8.5 by 5.5. We're going to be scoring that. And then for the DSP, you're going to want the DSP that has like a very vanilla background. And so this one right here, this is the one you're going to want for your DSP. All right, so we'll put that aside. For cardstock, we're going to need some very vanilla, and you have one sheet of that. And we're going to need some Mary Merlot, which is this beautiful dark wine color there. And you're going to need, I think that's it for this card. Okay. Very thick, very vanilla, very vanilla. If you've got your PDF, you can follow along. And then Mary Merlot. All right. And from your little kit, you're going to want to get the pearlized specialty paper. It's really pretty, kind of shiny. It's been embossed. It is 3 by 4, and it's been embossed with the painted texture folder, which is an awesome folder that goes with this suite. And then I've also given you a piece of Mossy Meadow, which is 2 by 5, that's been embossed with the Tasteful Textile folder. So those come out of your kit. We will need some other stuff in a little bit, but I think for now we'll just leave those in there. Probably need to get our ribbon and our embellishments later, but we don't need those right now. So let's get started. Let's go ahead and get our trimmer out, our awesome trimmer. I'm going to start by scoring our thick very vanilla cardstock at 4 1/4. That'll give us a nice crease so that we can fold it. And then get our bone folder out here, match them up, and crease it just like so with our bone folder. Now that's ready to go. For our very vanilla, I'm following the PDF, we need 1 3 3/4 by 5, and I like for you to start by cutting your cardstock in half, which would be 5.5. Okay, so I just cut that in half at 5.5. Now I'm going to turn it this way, and I'm going to do 3 3/4, and then I'm going to make that 5. So we'll end up with 3 3/4 by 5. That's for the inside sentiment. And then we're going to do another one that's going to be, let's see, is this my 5.5? This is my 5.5. So this one's going to be 4 1/4 by 5.5. So, but you know, we don't really need to cut this one because we're going to be stamping on this one. So I'm just going to leave this one like it is. Instead of cutting it at 4 1/4, we're just going to leave it at, it looks like it's 4 3/4 by 5.5. So we're going to use that for stamping. So that doesn't have to really be cut for size. The next one is Mary Merlot. So this very vanilla that we didn't use, we're going to put it back in our stash. Mary Merlot, again, we're going to cut it at 5.5. And then we're going to turn it, cut it at 4 1/8. 4 1/8. And then trim it down to 5 3/8. That's going to be for our front panel. 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. And then we need to do the inside panel, which is going to be 4 by 5 1/4. So here's my 5.5. So we went 4 by 5 1/4. Right there. Awesome. Okay, that's done. There's one more. Let's see. We need one that's 1.5 by 1 5/8. So I'm just going to take this and I'm going to cut 1.5 off of here. No, 1/2, not 1.5. 1/2 right there. And then I need that to be 1 5/8. So 1 5/8 right there. Okay, 1/2 by 1 5/8. And yeah, I got it right. All right, so then this can go back with our stash. And I think that's it for our cutting. Is it? Yes, that's it for cutting. Awesome. Oh no, we need to cut our DSP. Our DSP is 4 by 5 1/4. So we know this is 4. So we just need to do 5 1/4. All right, so now we are done with our cutting. All right, there we go. So after our cutting, I like to do our stamping. So we'll bring in this larger piece that we left a little bit bigger than it was supposed to be, in 4 1/4 by 5.5, but it doesn't matter that it's 4 3/4 by 5.5. These are all going to go on our card base, so we'll put that there. Put these all aside with these things here that we had. Okay, so the inks that we're going to need will be Mossy Meadow, Petal Pink, Flirty Flamingo, Mary Merlot, and Night of Navy. So those are our inks, and then I'll go ahead and bring in my Stamparatus. And for our stamps, we're going to want these two flower stamps, this leaf and stem stamp, the Best Wishes and Happy Birthday. So let's grab those. The two larger flower stamps. And boy, photopolymer is sticky, isn't it? Best Wishes and Happy Birthday. All right, and you can tell my stamps have been used, well loved, because they're almost, well, pink almost. Okay, so let me get my stamps here, put them over there, and let's get our piece of paper back in here. I'm going to just put a random ink pad there to hold that flat. This is my 4 3/4 by 5.5. So for this, we're going to want the larger, the more fuller of the larger ink stamps, and then we're going to want to get the leaf, and then we want to get the Happy Birthday, no, Best Wishes. Or if you want to put happy birthday in the front, you can do that, or you can do best wishes, whichever is your, whichever you prefer. But if you're going to do best wishes, just want to make sure that you have enough room to die cut the little best wishes out like that once it's been stamped. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead. Now I know I'd have enough room for these, so I'm going to remove these and pick up that larger stamp. Get it back in the corner there. You will need a D block because we're actually going to do this in two colors. We're going to do it first in Flirty Flamingo, and then we're going to come in with our block and do a petal pink. So let's get our Flirty Flamingo out and ink up our stamp. Now this one we want to have a nice rich color, so and that looks pretty good, but you know me, I wanna I wanna make sure. Okay, so that's nice and rich, and then I'm going to clean off my stamp. And dry it off. I have my piece of stamping cleaner thing. So now I'm going to put this on my block, and it might do better to kind of put it in like a diamond shape like that. Oh, that is sticky. Okay, now this is gonna, so I'm not going to stamp right over the stamp where it was. I'm going to line it up, and then when I stamp, I'm just going to move it like not quite even 1/8 of an inch to the right. So I'm going to line it up, turn it to the right, just about 1/16 of an inch or more, just barely, and then stamp again on top. So now I want my petal pink. So I'm going to take my petal pink ink and I'm going to ink up my flower, and I'm going to line it up here where it was before, and then I'm going to turn it to the right just about 1/16 of an inch, not quite 1/8 of an inch, and I'm going to stamp down. And that's going to give it a little bit more. It looks like I need to do it a little bit more because I didn't quite go far enough. Let's say 1/8 of an inch then. Maybe just less than 1/8 of an inch. Okay, that looks good. That looks a lot better. So let me clean my stamp off. So I got that clean. Now I'm going to get my Merry Merlot, which is this one right here, and I'm going to get the other flower stamp that is more like a detail stamp. I'm going to stamp that in Merry Merlot over my flower that I've already got. So I'm going to ink that up with Merry Merlot, and then I'm going to try to line it up. You can kind of see like the circle. Let's see. The circle kind of goes up, straight up to the top. Like, if that kind of helps you to know how to place it. It's really not any, I mean, it's kind of to the right, I guess. So let me push that down. It doesn't have to be perfect anyway. So the circle, the hole in the stamp is kind of like at the top. Okay, there you go. Awesome. And now clean that stamp off. So we're done with our Merry Merlot. Well, actually, no, we're not. Now we have to do Best Wishes. And so I'm going to put my best wishes up here where I know that it's going to have plenty of room to die cut that. And ink up my best wishes. Now you could use the D block for this. I just like to be able to stamp twice if I need to, because I like my sentiments to be nice and dark. So, and this is a little bit dry. This ink pad is a little dry. Okay, and there we go. Best wishes. And then lastly, clean that stamp off. We want to do our leaves. I'm going to do that in Mossy Meadow. So we'll put our leaves. Now these are going to be die cut too, so we want to be sure that we leave room to die cut that and to die cut the leaves as well. So ink that up. I just love Mossy Meadow. I think it's such a pretty color. Okay, so we have our leaves and our flower. Clean that off. Let's see, what else do we need? Do we need to do the inside, the happy birthday, and decorate the inside? So let's bring in, I'm going to go ahead and bring in my 4x6 window sheet. Looks like I didn't clean it off last time I used it. Okay, so I've got my 4x6 window sheet. I'm going to put it in the very corner there, nice and tight. Bring in my happy birthday and put it down here at the bottom, so that what I can do now is get that in place. Come on now, stay there where you belong. Ink that. That's going to be in Mary Merlot as well. So let me get my Mary Merlot out again. Ink up. Well, first I have to pick that up. Then I'm going to ink it up. This will show me where it's going to stamp. And then what I'm going to do is get the inside piece, which was 3 3/4 by 5. I'm going to slide that under so that I can line that up nicely so it's even. And then I'm going to put this down here to hold it in place while I stamp it. Ink it up again. Happy birthday. It's nice to have some happy birthday cards on hand so that when you have a last minute birthday that you might have forgot about or lost track of time and it's already birthday time, you have cards already made up to hand out or pop in the mail. So that's our happy birthday, and now we're going to do something on the inside. I'll show you what we're going to do. Clean up my plastic. The inside I kind of tried to make a little fancy, not just so it wouldn't be so plain. So I took the flower image, the larger flower image, and stamped it with Flirty Flamingo. But at first I stamped off and then stamped on, and then I did the same thing with the petal pink. So let's get our block back, and this is, so we'll need some scratch paper. And here's my scratch paper. Let me get rid of my happy birthday here. So first we'll start with our Flirty Flamingo. And we're going to do this at the bottom. I'm just going to hold this in place so it doesn't move while I'm stamping. So ink up with Flirty Flamingo. Try to stay in camera too. Then I'm going to, this is actually the wrong one. This is the one that has the detail. I want the one that is the full, has the full one. You might do the same thing if you forgot to change it out. Okay, let me get that back on there where it belongs. Okay, so now I'm going to ink it up with my Flirty Flamingo. And then I'm going to stamp off. And then I'm going to stamp on, and it's going to be kind of over here in the corner. And the reason we stamp off is we don't want it to be so heavy that it takes over, because you're going to want to write on there, and you might want to write over there. So it's going to be more like a watermark. So clean that stamp off and dry it, because we're going to stamp it again. We're going to use it again. And this is my, I cut it in half. I can't think of the name of this. Stampin' Scrub, I think. I cut it in half with my kitchen scissors. So I'd have it to dry off my stamps. Okay, so now I've got my petal pink again. This time I'm going to ink it up, do the same thing, do like that little bit of a turn, stamp off, and then I'm going to stamp, line it up, and then I'm turning it just an eighth, a little less than an eighth of an inch. And there we go. You can just barely see it, but it's there. Okay, so that's our stamping, I believe. Let me just really check real quick. Make sure I get all the ink off my fingers too before I start picking up paper. Get the ink off of my stamp. Yep, I think that is about right. I think that's it for stamping. Okay, so we can start putting our card together. So we'll clean up, put our stamps back. If you're not going to do any more stamping, I'm just going to leave them there for now. I'll put them away later. And put my ink pads away. All right, so here's our model, and here's our card base. So we do have some ribbon, so we'll go ahead and grab our ribbon now. So it looks like we have some piece of the, it's an old olive ribbon, and it is from the, I'm not real sure, it's in the PDF. It's 5.5 inches, and it's old olive. It comes with a Calypso coral as well. And then you're also going to want to have, I have 3 of the larger frosted epoxy droplets. They have kind of a frosted look to them. And they're not clear, they're frosted, so really pretty for this card, I thought. Trying to just getting them out of there, though, is a little bit of a trick. Okay, so there's our 3. I don't want to lose my 3 small pearls. Put those back in there. And you know, we will need to bring in this. We actually do have some die cutting to do, so let me bring in my little, well, it's too big for my little die cutting machine, so I'm going to have to bring in my big one. Stampin', Cut, and Emboss. So I'm going to need plates 1, plate 2, and then I'll have a plate 3, which is Well Loved, and another plate 3. So let me get my dies. Here's our dies. Here's our die for our leaf, our die for our Best Wishes, and our die for the outside of around our flower. So they can all be cut at the same time if we line them up correctly, and I'm going to use some removable tape. So do the flower first. Am I in camera? I hope so. Let me move this. I'll be in camera a little bit down here at the bottom. So line that one up. Take your time, no rush. There we go. And then the leaves. Make sure you get your stems where they belong. You want to be able to see your stem through there when it peeks through there. In fact, I'm going to make sure I put some tape there just so that stem doesn't move. And then your best wishes, I think I might have covered it up here. My best wishes is going to be here. And I'm just using what is it? Scotch removable magic tape is what it is. And it's a good thing it's removable because I don't always get these lined up correctly. Alright, so I hope you're having good luck doing this. And there we are. I think we are ready to run those through. Those look good. Okay, so I'm going to set that on top. Then I'm going to set this on top. And line up my plates and run it through. And that cracking is normal. Just working, that's all. Get these. Not going to worry about my dies. I'll just set them aside too for now. So we have these. These are going to go on top of, well, let's see. Let's build this up from top to bottom, or bottom to top. The bigger one is the one that goes outside, so it's just 1/8 of an inch bigger on both sides. That's the one that's going to go on the front, and then you've got this that's going to go on top of that. And I don't know if it makes a difference. It kind of looks like the leaves should be at the bottom of the flowers as much as possible. Let me get my snail, or my seal. I'm just going to put a couple of strips of that there and line it up. It's only 1/16 of an inch around. So, and then we're going to put our ribbon on, and it looks like our ribbon is 1.5 inches from the bottom here. So right about, this is where this mat comes in handy, the grid paper. It kind of lets me know where I need to put my little bit of snail. Now you can measure 1.5 inches from the bottom, and then the bottom of your ribbon is going to be 1.5 inches from the bottom. Or you can do like I'm doing, put it there and then put it even at 1.5. 1.5, 1.5. Make it even on both sides, and then stick it in where you, and I can see I need to put a little bit more there. Alright, so now I have my ribbon where I want it. This is going to go on the front of my card, just like that. So I'll put some seal, strip of seal, a little on this bottom, some here on the side, and some on the top just to make sure that stays in place. Make sure it's opening correctly. And then we have 1/8 of an inch all around for this, or no, this is 1/16 of an inch all around. Such a pretty paper this whole suite has. Next, we're going to put this down, our 2x5 piece of mossy meadow that's been, and it's going to go about, let me see, that is 2, 1, 2, not quite, about 7/8 of an inch, not quite an inch from the edge. And we can put that on with some seal too. Just even top and bottom, and then about 7/8, not a whole inch. About maybe 7/8 of an inch from the side. But it doesn't have to be perfect. Just as long as it's even, that's the most important thing, is it's level. There. That'll kind of help hold down my ribbon too, won't it? Now this is going to go on top, and I put that on with mini dimensionals. You don't want to put any mini dimensionals over the ribbon, so and I don't think it really matters what side you use. Both sides are going to be equally beautiful, but if you want to pick a favorite side, you can do that. And you can use the larger dimensionals if you want. So let me get all of these little dimensionals on here. This might take a while, but that's okay. This is supposed to be fun. We're not supposed to be rushed. We spend too much of our life rushed. This part should be the relaxed and fun. Okay, put a couple here. All right. And I'm going to use this. You may not want to try this, but I'm just poking and flicking up and taking these off because it unnerves me to have to do this the slow way. So using my take your pick tool, just poking in the center and flicking up. And then of course you always get the one that's a little doesn't want to cooperate. Okay, it feels like I got them all. Get them in the trash there. Okay, and then this is just going to be even. It's going to hang over about 1/4 of an inch off the side of the mossy meadow. Make sure it's level with the side. Oh, so pretty. Now we are ready to put our flower in place, and we're going to go ahead and get it so we know where to place it, get our placement figured out. Our best wishes. Where did it go? Oh no, where's our best wishes? Okay, I found it. It was hiding under my little Stampin' dimensionals. And we need that small piece of Mary Merlot. Why is it everything seems to hide from me when I get on camera? So I ended up cutting another one, 1/2 inch by 1 5/8. No, I just don't know. That other one will probably turn up maybe before the end of the video. I don't know. So I'm just going to do a little bit of glue there. And then I'm going to line this up and center it in the center of this Mary Merlot. You can see why I used glue now, I think. And have a little extra glue left over there. Make sure that I have room now for everything. Leaves, flower, best wishes. It's about 1/4 of an inch from the bottom. So I'll go ahead and put the best wishes on first. That way I'll make sure I have plenty of room for it. If I do it the other way, I may be left without any room by my flower. So about 1/16 of an inch from the edge, 1/4 inch from the bottom, somewhere around there. Okay, so I'm going to actually, sometimes when I'm placing things, this is going to be covered up, so I'm going to put a dot there, so I'll know that I want my stem there, and then I'm going to put a dot just underneath this stem, so I know what direction. It won't show once I cover it up. And I'm going to use some glue, tiny dots of glue all along the stem, tiny. I'm basically just touching the glue to the stem. I'm not even squeezing. So these marks are going to help me know that I want to cover that one up, and I want this one to go right to where that one is. So I'm going to move it a little bit over though, because I don't want it to be on top of there. So there we go. And then this, you can pop this one up if you want with mini dimensionals, or you can just put it flat, whichever floats your boat. I think with this one I just glued it down. So, you know, you don't want too much dimension if you're mailing your cards. So I think I might just go ahead and just glue it down, I think. Although it would look nice if it was popped up. So if you're going to hand deliver, you could probably pop it up for a little more dimension. But for me, I'm going to just leave it like this. So pretty. And you know, we still need to do the center of the flower. The flowers here have a little bit of blue in them, and that's why I put the blue there. But I went a little overboard here, so we're not going to go overboard this time. I've learned my lesson. And the last thing we're going to put before we do, well, let's go ahead and do the blue. So let's get our Night of Navy ink. And you're going to need to get one of the Q-tips from your bag. And that's how we're going to apply the ink. And we're just going to put it in the very center. We're not going to go crazy with it. But you can look on the edges and you can see. You want it dark enough that it shows, but you don't want it to overpower the flower. Okay, so don't put too much. And you can save this to use for later or pitch it, whichever's easier. And I thought about taking the Wink of Stella card. Let me get my Wink of Stella if you have it. So this is the clear Wink of Stella pen. I'm going to take the brush and just kind of go over the center and swirl it around, and then I'm just going to kind of go out to the edges a tiny bit to make it look more realistic. And then just get a piece of scratch paper to clean off your brush. And then you'll have your center of your flower. And it'll look better when it's dry. Right now it looks kind of bad, but it'll look better. But it'll match because you can see there's blue in there. Alright, so now let's put the inside. We've got our Merry Merlot and our happy birthday sentiment. That's going to go in the center. There's 1/8 of an inch around. It's going to go in the card. Hope you're liking this. We'll definitely have plenty of birthday cards when this is all over. And hopefully you'll have had some fun as well. Now we're ready to put these on, our large frosted epoxy droplets. I'm going to put one kind of right there. And then these two are going to go side by side up here at the top. About 1/8 of an inch from the top, 1/4 of an inch from the side. And I think it's easier if you line them up like this. If you look at them like this, it's easier to line them up straight. And they're just about 1/8 of an inch apart, maybe a little more, but not 1/4 of an inch. And that's not quite straight. So I'm going to try to move it over a little bit. Ah, that's better. Okay, so we are done with our first card, our project 1 in our art gallery online class. I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. And I'll see you for project number 2. Check out my website, www.carolbcrafts.com. Bye now.